Oh shit. Yo. I want to see if I can just do how it looks. Mic not in the fucking camera. Get off the camera, nigga. Okay. Yo, I'm back. Been telling myself. Told myself after this yesterday, I was gonna come back with these with a little bit more energy because I know it's nighttime, but nobody want to sit here and watch like some nigga blah blah blah. But I'm trying to still be as authentic as possible while giving myself a little bit of energy. And nothing wrong with that. It's not faking it if I just hype myself up a little bit. Even though I'm like kind of tired. Like I was literally like drowning out, falling asleep right before this. Um, but I'm trying to see like what is the best way to have some damn audio and maybe not have the mic in the camera. Maybe just turning some people off. So how about like this? But then I'm not centered. Who cares? As long as you can hear me, right? So today went to the gym, did some things. A topic on my mind is that people that are raised with like abusive parents, that's generally bad people, and they like let their bad personness onto the offspring they brought into this world for literally no reason. People who are raised like that, they don't get a lot of time to heal by society. And I mean in the sense that like society, when you're about like 22, 23, society expects you to have most of your emotional shit wrapped up and together to the point where like it kind of, American society anyway, kind of like, hey, we get it. You had like a good 3 years to get that shit together. Good 3 to 4 years after you left your parents' home, to get that shit together. But now it's time to like fix that. And you had that 4 years to fix that. But now it's time like to be okay now, and it's kind of fucked up because a lot of like trauma and shit, that shit you don't really even notice until like you've been out of it for so long, and it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy all the things that like you don't even admit to yourself. Um, us, I recently saw like, damn, I don't want to talk about this actually, but I recently saw something or something happened to me, and it reminded me of like a very traumatic thing in my childhood, and I didn't realize how much it affected me until like I realized that I was avoiding it for so fucking long. It happened, and I was just avoiding it. I was avoiding even saying it or talking about it. And a topic comes up in a discussion, and I just freeze. I just freeze. Um, yeah, it's uh, it's crazy, cause it's like when you're like 22, 23, if you're not well emotionally put together, people looking at you like you're childish, you are like whatever, and they kind of write you off. A lot of people write you off when you're not well put together when you're like 22, 23. And that's still like at the beginning of your life. Maybe I can say like 35, like, oh, that shit from childhood, you supposed to been deal with that. But nigga, 24, 25, hell, 28? I mean, I know that's a good bit of time, but that shit is shit I grew up with. That shit made me. That shit made them. That this is like where I get a lot of everything from my life from. This is most of my life is still being in that environment. We need to give people like that more space, more time, more everything. They deserve a little bit more of our patience. And I know I'm not and I know I'm not just saying that because I'm a person been through that, but they do. They deserve a bit more patience. They really do. Young adults that been through that deserve more patience from us because they had no other fucking choice. They had no other choice. They had to do that. And I feel like a lot of times people that don't come from like families like this, or like they'll think they come from similar families, like, oh, well, my parents got divorced and I don't see me crying like this. Meanwhile, your parent, it was the most abusive piece of shit that literally tried to kill you. You know, you would come home with bruises and shit like that, or your parents would steal money from you, or like or they would try to have like try to sell you. And people would like equate that like, oh, you supposed to been have figured that out. Like, no, that's not equate. You will never understand how painful that is. You can only ever like contextual, not even contextualize it. You can only ever have it as a concept in your mind if you how you would feel if your mom did that, not how it would actually affect you. And I'm gonna say that we should like let them do whatever they want. No, they definitely, if they do bad things, we should hold them accountable. But we still should have that like, and I feel like a lot of times when things like people like do things like that, people that have been raised like that do bad things, we kind of like, yeah, it's whatever. They're just bad, or rather, maybe they're just really fucked up because the person they were entrusted with, our government. Granted, I feel like this is where the thing is. Our government is supposed to like interfere with those type of things. They supposed to notice that shit happening to that child and interfere and stop it from happening. So we don't get like fucked up adults who've never had like the government step into their life because the government didn't give a fuck enough, or the government didn't feel like paying enough money, or the government didn't want to get sued, or the government didn't want to do that. And it's just like there should have been more stepping in that child's life. Now this is a grown as adult who all he knows was just, or all they know, not just me, because some of these experiences I'm talking about right now are not from me, just from people I've talked to. Um, some of their experiences literally all they fucking know. It's all they had the chance to know, is, and it's just like, oh, it's another thing that I fucking hate. Oh, it's not my job to fucking teach you, motherfucker. If nobody else taught them in their life, okay, cool, great, 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 great. It's not your job. It's not your job. But then it's like when there's so many uninformed people, so many ignorant people, whose job is it? Because it's apparently not nobody's job. But then you're like, oh, well, there's resources online. Okay, but they still have to know to get to those resources. They still have to know how to get to. There's still like a level of parsing of information you got to know around the topic to know whether it's like that is like accurate or that is inaccurate. Because you can like, okay, well, I got to do my own research. Then how do I know that this person that is supposed to be teaching me is correctly parsing this information for me, or is correctly giving this information? What if I'm just falling down another rabbit hole? What if that person is falling down another rabbit hole, but they think they're going the right way because somebody pointed out some behavior, some like idea or thought that they had about some whatever topic, right? And they're like, okay, I'm not gonna teach you, but I'm not gonna teach you, but you're fucking wrong for this, and I don't owe you a fucking to be taught. Okay, they point them in or maybe like they get like a general field. They go to like some fucking as for like example, let's say like the topic of like what actually happened during slavery and like what type of what like the gruesome more atrocities, like how they used to make clothes out of their slaves, how they used to eat them, right? What if they wanted to look in like what like a lot of the more vicious atrocities of slavery, and they go meet a person that's talking about like, hey, actually slavery was bad, but it was really bad, but like this could have been happened to black people if they stayed in Africa. And it's like, and I feel like a lot of people on the left, liberals, Democrats, whoever you want to call them, they don't want to deal with the fact that people are people, and they shit just don't happen like that all the time. Learning shit just doesn't happen like that, and it feels so elitist when they talk like that. It feels so like it's feel like they care about the issue as long as it's not happening to them. As in a sense, like, oh, okay, well, this other what if the person that has never been in contact with anybody ever that has been educated on this topic just goes through their entire life without doing this? You can definitely do that. Given the circles online, given the algorithms online, you can go through life experiencing people that you can talk to, that you can physically talk to and have conversations with. You can go through life never having to interact with a person who holds the truth, right? Who holds in a better sense, who holds like the truth. Hold the truth is not a good way to phrase this. Who holds like an unignorant opinion about a specific topic. And it frustrates me to no end that people see like when people are genuinely curious and genuinely want to learn, or maybe not even genuinely curious, I think sometimes we kind of operate like, oh, in a sense, it's kind of like when you give like a homeless person money, oh, they could use this for drugs. It's like, oh, they're not genuinely or like sincerely wanting to learn, and I don't want to waste my breath. Oh, that homeless person oh, does not genuinely does not gonna spend that money on food. They're gonna fucking go buy drugs. Okay, what do I got to do with you? It's a teaching moment. If they don't listen, cool, whatever. Waste your breath. Wasting your breath could literally probably be in the back of somebody's mind forever, and you never know. So why not waste your breath? What real thing are you losing besides like maybe a little mental energy? And I feel like even if you lose a little mental energy, you can take away from. I try to help somebody today. And I think we got into so individual. We get into so individualism, so much individualism as like I don't need to this, I don't need to do that, I don't want to do this, I don't have to do that. When it's like, and then these are the same people that talk about community. Community is not just the people you select. Community is everybody. It's everybody. And I'm not saying you have to like everybody in your community or everybody in your community have to agree with you, but to sit there and think that like you don't have to educate anybody about anything because that's not what you have to do is fucking insane. And I think while you may be right, you don't have to. It's like ultimately um counterintuitive. That ideology to me is ultimately counterintuitive. Ultimately does nothing besides leave you at peace, I guess. Um, but yeah, back on the topic of just dealing with people who had like, especially younger people who had like these oppressive childhoods with just like evil people. They would do these most evil things to the child that nobody that like they had no choice but to fucking endure. We need to be more patient. We need to have a little bit more humanity. We need to look at them like people rather than if they do bad things or just like the bad thing they done. Yes, hold them accountable for sure. But we need to look them at like as like people who has been through something they had no other choice of to go through. It wasn't a lot of it wasn't a choice. A lot of it's something they just had to be deal with. It's like a self fulfilling prophecy. They had to become that. They had to because it's simply the way that life happened to them. And I just don't think we give a lot of people with with that type of upbringing that like that type of humanism, especially I say humanism again. I'm tired. This is like 1:20 a.m. I have these talks at like 12 to 1 a.m. So everything's not going to be completely correct. Everything's not going to be every word not going to be used correct. It's just me tired and ranting because I'm the most vulnerable. But what was I saying? Especially on the left, especially the people that I usually find myself agreeing with in terms of like social policies, they just don't seem to be. They seem to be really against being some type of so expressing some type of humanism, some type of humanity. Somebody who's done something wrong, that who they perceive as wrong, given that even if that was the only thing they knew. It was that the only thing that we're taught or told. It's like, oh, you should have been known that. Oh, you're a grown ass adult, but it literally, you can literally that literally happens to so many people. And I think the more and more we think it's like, oh, they should did this because I went through this. The more and more we like distance ourselves from everybody else. It's so individual. It's such an individualistic way of thinking. It's such a narrow-minded way of acting. It's such a counterintuitive thing with just it's counterintuitive thing of progress in general. It's like being at a fucking road, right? Being at a road and like not knowing which way to go, right? Not knowing which way to go, right? You're sitting and you're like, I gotta take the right path. I'm gonna choose that path, and that just so happened to be the right path. But now some other fuckers come down the road. There's no signage. You didn't leave up any signage. You didn't leave up blah blah blah. You didn't leave up that. You come down the road and they turn right. They turn right and that is a wrong road. And you're like, how the fuck you get there? I didn't do that. So you should have done that. Again, hold these people accountable, but still treat them like fucking humans. I don't treat them like fucking humans. I've had like a lot of toxic relationships, especially with like very physically abusive women, right? And I don't hate them. They've done things like horrible things to me, and I don't hate them. I don't hate them. I don't want to be with them. I don't want to like maybe associate with them, but I don't hate them. And if they needed help, I would probably still help them. But I wouldn't want anything like intimate with them. And you know why? Because they told me about the things they've been through. They told me like the things that their moms and dads put them through. Insane shit. Like insane shit. Like literally drugging them. Like I dated a girl who fucking mom drugged them. Who's drugged them birth control without even telling them. And another person that I dated whose mom would beat the living shit out of him. And she was abusive. Or she was abusive. But then it's like we're young and that's all you know. So I can't really hate you for it, but I also cannot maybe I can maybe not be with you anymore. And that's fine. And that's fine. But I do recognize that and I will tell you that you need to fucking change. I will tell you that. I will tell you that you need to fucking change. I will tell you that you need to be different, that you need to get past what you've been through in childhood and I have that patience for you. But eventually you have to be different. You are young right now, and so I understand, but eventually you will have to be different. Give these young people more fucking patience. Maybe not in your life, but in your mind.